So that's all we do. So we are getting into some high level deal review and IRA strategies. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. What about me? My mic good?
100%. 100%.
All right.
So we are, let's start with the deal review. And why don't you give some context? There we go. Why don't you give to how we found these particular deals? It's the same seller. Why don't you give the rundown and then we'll get into the numbers.
Yep. So we have this is actually a 2-for-1. I love these type of deals.
Yep, these are the best for IRAs too, and we're going to show you how to do it.
So we got 2 deals. I think this was signed on Monday, a Monday or Tuesday this week. And these are ones that we're going to take down. And I think we got this from our website.
Correct.
So I'm not going to give the addresses out, but I can give you guys the kind of the roundabout, just bedrooms and baths and rent, purchase price, what we think our ARV is, and also what we think the rehab is. So this is a 3-2.
All right. Hang on. So this is property number 1. Right?
Property number 1. Yep. So we have a ranch with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's about 1,300 square feet. What's interesting about this one is that it's got 3 garages. One is attached, and the other 2 is detached. So if you got, a ton of cars, this is your house. So we're going to be roughly all in on this deal about 132. Purchase and rehab. Purchase is around 118. Rehab's around 115. I'm sorry. Rehab is 15.
What are we buying it for? How much?
118. And the rehab, based on what we saw in our inspection, will probably be almost a level 2. So it's at 15. And then the after repair value conservatively is 177. 177,000. And then we think the rent, with that being a 3-car garage situation, will be around 1,400.
Let me see if I can get rid of this glare, bro. I mean, there's not really any way to get rid of the glare, so everybody will just have to follow along best they can,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 118 and 115, so it's 133 all in. And what did you say the ARV is?
177.
Okay, so divide 133 by 177, and that gives us our all-in percentage. This is how we always do it, everybody.
So that's right at 75%.
There you go. So ARV 177, and we are all in right at 75%, and that's where we want to be. Because the reason that's applicable is because we're going to buy it with private money, rehab it with private money. After it's all fixed up, then we go to a bank, and the bank's only willing to give us 75% loan to value. So the value's, right, 177, if you can see that. And we're all in for 133. So when the bank comes in with 133, we are going to pay back our private lender. And we're going to borrow private money to buy it, borrow the rehab money. Now our lender gets paid back when we refinance, and now our payment goes down drastically. That's why the all-in percentage is relevant. And what's the rent on this sucker?
1,400.
Yeah, that's a monster. So yeah, I love that. Now this seller had 2 properties, and what are we buying the other one for?
So the other one, it's the 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, smaller home, 960 square feet, similar area, for 10,000.
Okay,
that's our purchase. It's going to be 10,000, and then the estimate doesn't need a lot of work. It's right around 10,000, and the ARV is kind conservatively about 68,000, with a rent potential of 1,000.
All right, and a rent for 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So check this out. The seller, I know the seller. When we first started this conversation, we were talking about the reason we like the old twofer. When a seller has two properties, this particular seller, they only wanted 128 for both properties. They said, however you divvy it up, have at it. I don't care. I need 128 to appease the court. I think there's probate involved or something like that. So immediately, what we like to do is take the better of the two properties that'll be a rental property. And that's this one, because this is the 2 1.5. It's not as desirable for our portfolio as a 3-2 ranch, garage, better ARV, a little better area, So what we did was front load this one on purpose. The reason we strategically are buying this for 118 with the 15K rehab is because we wanted to be all in 75, right? This way we can do the refi, this whole thing. And the reason we like this this one's, the little one, it's less desirable for our portfolio. But these small amounts here, we're buying it for now only 10,000 because we front loaded this one to get the lady her 128. What we're going to do here is use our IRAs, flip this thing, and we're going to turn a small amount of cash, like 20K, into a lot of cash, which is, basically 68K, and it's all going to be 100% tax free. So we're going to flip this property or do some kind of land contract. Well, it's like, we'll keep it simple for the people and just say we're flipping it, right? But what's going to happen here is we're going to show you, we front loaded this one so we can successfully raise the private cash, do the refi, still pay back our lender. And then we like the balance is really low here so we can flip this property, make a big fat cash, and it's all going to be tax free. Yep.
Yeah. So the beauty of why this works on that is because it's small. It's a small amount. We can get small amounts of money working, right? And it's not that big of a risk. So this is a number of deals we've done in our IRA here in the last, I don't know, 24 months or so. But they're similar like this, where there's two houses involved. We take one of the houses, we put a small amount in one where it's not that big of a risk, and then we front load the one house. So
by the way, everybody, I can see your questions. Leave any questions you have in the comments and I can read them here, as they come in. So anyway, this is how it works. I mean, I don't know what else there is. It's solid, but this is a great strategy. So this is how, all right, look, by law, you're allowed to contribute, $6K a year, $6K, right? 6,500 maybe per year into an IRA, right? That's the legal amount that everyone's allowed to. So with that being said, that's why we'd like to front load one deal and keep the balance super low over here, because most people have 10K at least in your IRA, but this is how you can turn your IRA from 10,000, so me and RJ are going to partner on this. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to break down the whole structure of how we're going to do this with our IRA, but we're also including one of our team members. And I'm going to show you how you can get multiple IRAs working together, and you can do this with your family. And that's what we're doing. And we can get it even to RJ's new little baby. We can get her IRA going, everybody's IRA going. You get an IRA, I get an IRA. Everyone gets an IRA for Christmas this year, everybody. This is what we're doing. So let's just focus on this deal. I'm going to wipe everything down, and let's talk about the whole structure of how we're going to do it with the IRAs. Sound good?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. How is the baby? The people are commenting. They all want to know how the baby is.
Dave's excited.
Grab the baby and show the people the baby. Everybody wants to see. Go get her real quick. I'll get the board wiped down. I see Lindy's watching. Lindy, come on, bring the baby in the room.
The baby's sleeping. We just took her out for a little bit. When I take her out, I mean, we're just down the street, you know.
What's the baby's full name? What's the baby's middle name?
Louise. Leonie Louise.
Leonie Louise Pepino. We
got an interesting question, by the way.
Yes.
Questions from Phil. He's asking, are you getting hit with UBIT?
UBIT, Unified Business. Yeah. No, I mean, there's you're allowed to do a couple. Everyone I've talked to, you know, good friend of ours, Steve, that RJ knows, you know, he says you can pretty much get away with like 3 or 4 of them a year, you know. But yeah, it's not like we're doing this like weekly and just exploding our IRAs. I would like to, but we just do a couple a year and we keep it pretty mellow, to answer your question. So what he's talking about is, you know, if you do too many deals in an IRA where you're just flipping like crazy, you could get flagged for what's called UBIT, because it's like you're operating a business out of your IRA, and then the UBIT is a tax, and that would defeat the whole purpose of using the IRA if now you have to pay a tax. So to answer Phil's question is no, you just gotta just not do this like weekly and stay off the radar. And that's what we plan on doing. We're nobodies, you know. So let's get into some cool stuff. We are going to talk about how we're structuring this deal with our team members' money as well, and how you can do it with private lenders, how you can do it with your own team. I see Eric Brewer's watching. And Eric, I mean, this is a great thing. You got a big company out there in PA. You know, if you don't offer 401ks and stuff like that for your team, for your leadership team, you might consider helping them get, you know, self-directed IRAs open. You might already be doing this, quite honestly. And by the way, Eric, I heard your podcast on Steve Trang, and that was phenomenal. And you got a great story, man. I encourage everyone to check out Eric Brewer, just a powerhouse out of PA. But Eric has a big team, and I know he thrived through COVID just like we did. He hired some people, and very, very happy to hear that, Brewer. And, you know, if you don't offer 401ks or some kind of retirement plan, you know, you might consider helping them get self-directed IRAs, because what you do have is deal flow. Maybe you don't offer a 401k, but you have a hell of a lot of deal flow. And this way you can help them build a little nest egg. And that's what we're doing with our team, because we all want to get rich together. You know, and we care about our team. And I know, Brewer, you care about your team. And this is just a cool thing that you can do. So RJ and I are going to look at that deal. It's ARV 68K. And remember, we're buying it for 10 because we front loaded the other deal, and we're going to put 10 into it. So we're going to do it with 3 IRAs. And I'll try to avoid, I'm going to write over here. Yep, right here seems to be the line. There's going to be 3 IRAs involved here. You got IRA number 1, we'll call that RJ. IRA number 2, and that's going to be Dave. And IRA number 3, we'll call that Leonie, for the sake of this conversation. But this will be one of our team members, not RJ's daughter, but for the sake of conversation. So there's 2 ways you can do this, and one is easier than the other. He explained, we got some training on this. I'll explain the more difficult way first, and then I'll show you the easy way. Sound good, RJ?
Let's do it.
All right. So essentially, all 3 of these IRAs can create what is called a JV agreement. And a JV agreement is nothing more than just a contract, okay? And basically, the JV agreement is going to spell out all of the terms of how we're going to split up the deal. So in this particular case, me and Leonie's IRA in this case is putting in $3,500 out of her IRA, because maybe she only has 6 grand or something like that. Me and RJ are putting in the rest. Remember, we need, the remainder, which is 16,500. So RJ is putting in 8,250. I'm putting it in, and so is RJ. 80. We're making up the other half. So this JV agreement will spell out everything, and basically, I wrote here usually a non-IRA is going to be the owner. I'm a little bit confused. It doesn't matter, but this is one way to do it with the JV agreement, which is just a contract. And with this, all three IRAs now own this property. We have a JV agreement, but now our IRA on public records can be like, RJ, IRA number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Quest, da, 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 da. Dave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all this crazy. The reason this is cumbersome is like all these IRAs are like so long. And if we have 3 IRAs involved, it's going to be like this crazy long document and it probably won't even fit. It's all cumbersome. And there's 2 sets of docs. So Quest IRA charges us, $125 for what's called the PE docs, and that's just the IRA docs, which is like the direction of investment and all the stuff you got to fill out. We got it down cold, everybody, so it's not that hard. Just get through it, and we can help you. And then all the real estate docs, like the note, the mortgage, the deed, the whole thing. So this particular model would charge us $125 for the docs twice. We'd have to pay for the PE docs, and we'd have to pay for all the real estate docs. And it's more cumbersome because are on the public record, and we're trying to stay off the public record, everybody, aren't you? I mean, come on, nobody wants their name on the public record. So this is one way to do it. It's more cumbersome, and we're not doing it that way. Now I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. Okay, hang on. The easy way to do it is not doing a JV agreement. And this is the way we're doing it. And this is the way we're doing it moving forward. And this is the way we'd love to do it with you if you want. So the way we're doing it, which is much better, is we are going to form a trust. And that trust is just going to be called, the 123 Main Street Trust. And whatever the address is. And this is now going to be the owner or on public record is the 123 Main Street Trust. The trust is going to have, as far as every single trust, there's 3 parties involved. Party number 1 is the beneficiary. Okay. In this case, there's 3 beneficiaries. You got the IRAs or the beneficiaries. And you always know what the beneficiary is and does because that's like the benefit. Whoever's benefiting, getting all the benefits or the profits, that's the beneficiary, right? The second party is what's called the trustor. That's just the seller. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. This person's not involved anymore. They're not a beneficiary. It's just the seller. And then there's the trustee. And that is the name that's going to go on public record as far as, hey, if there's like legal stuff going on or anything, send it to this. The trustee can be an entity. Ohio is very friendly with trusts, which I've come to learn. But the trustee cannot be any related party to me, RJ, or Leonie in this case. So it can't be our brother, mother, anyone who can inherit property or money from us cannot be a family member. So the way we're setting it up is, and this is just the name on public record, and you can dictate the amount of power the trustee has. They can have no power at all. Who has all the power here is the beneficiary, because that's how it's spelled out, right, in the trust agreement. And what makes Ohio a good place for trusts is you don't have to file on public record the origination, like the certificate of trust, which is called, because that spells out who the beneficiary is. There is no public record of who the beneficiary is for Ohio land trusts, which is beautiful. And we're just going to keep running with it. Learned all this. So this year, 2020, as a matter of fact, COVID forced me to study. You know? So in the trustee, remember that could be that's a non-related party. So the way we're setting it up is we're going to have a trust agreement, which is not recorded or anything like that. And the trust agreement just spells out how to divvy up the funds after we sell. That's all it is. So all we're sending, to Quest is the trust paperwork, which they're not going to record it on public record, but they need to see that the IRAs are the beneficiary, and they need to see in the trust agreement, which spells out RJ's IRA is putting in 8250, Dave's IRA is putting in 8250, and in this example, Leonie's IRA is putting in 3500. And then the trust agreement also spells out after they sell the property, if the property is sold, in that event, in the agreement we have, and this is actually a team member, this person is getting their $3,500 paid back, plus they're doubling their money. We're helping our team member double their money. So they get paid back $7K. RJ and I get our $8,250 both back, and then we divvy up the rest of the profits 50-50. So with this example, you only got to pay the $125 fee to Quest one time. And that's beautiful, basically. And then on all the paperwork, public record and everything, it just shows the 123 Main Street Trust as the owner. The first example would have had RJ's name on it, my name on it, everybody's name. It's a million letters on all these lines, too cumbersome, right? And then the trust agreement is not recorded on public record. That just goes to Quest, the IRA custodian, just to tell them how to designate the funds after we sell. It's super simple. So what we're doing now is taking title with trust, designating the beneficiaries as all three of these IRA, and then having a trust agreement which spells out how to divvy up the funds when we sell.
I've got a question. So what is that 3,500 gain to team member or Leonie, is that taxable?
No, nothing's taxable because it's all within the IRA. That's how it all works. So none of this is taxable. And let's pretend, okay, let's say we turn around and sell it now. We're all in for 20, 8,250 plus the 3,500. So we're all in for 20. And let's say we turn around and sell it. What did you say the ARV was, RJ? 68, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just say we sold it for 65. So there's 45K in profit. Well, out of the 45K, 35K is, or 3,500 is going to this team member, Leonie, because that's what was spelled out in the trust agreement. That's how Quest is going to divvy up the money. Okay. So that leaves, there's 45K. That leaves us 4150 in profit for me and you to split. And that's all just spelled out in the trust agreement, So, you're getting paid back 40, what is it? There's 4150 divided by 2, it's 20,525. So you get paid back all your money. Well, you get paid back 20,000 and change. I get paid back 20,000 and change. So you just made like a $12,000 profit. I just made a $12,000 profit, 100% tax-free. And our team member who has no involvement in the acquisition of this thing or anything like that is going to be doubling their little money there, $3,500. That's a great thing. People work for a corporation for a whole year and don't put away $3,500. We're helping our team members stack some money in their IRA. Now it gets even cooler. So this trustee, remember, we have to designate someone as the trustee, right? Well, what we're going to do is make the trustee our acquisitions guy, because our acquisitions guy gets paid a commission, right? Because he's the one who worked the deal with the seller. Me and RJ never spoke to the seller. So the trustee is going to be the acquisitions guy. And it's spelled out in the trust agreement that upon closing of the transaction, the trustee, the fee to pay the trustee is going to be whatever we designate the fee to be. And the fee is going to be, whatever our commission structure is for that particular deal. So that's going to come out of the profits. But I mean, me and you are both going to put in probably $11,000 and change, 100% tax-free. So, I mean, that's just how you start to build it up.
Yeah, I think what hopefully this landed to everybody. It's a little bit advanced, but the name of the game here is to grow lazy money in a tax-free environment,
Hell yeah.
and also get your team members involved in transactions like this so that they're more bought in. Which we've made a shift this year. Some different things that we're doing on payouts and equity shares and stuff like that. Um, my question again is because we're trying not to pay Uncle Sam, right?
I
And
don't
you,
know.
I mean, and we can't do this all the time because we want to stay under the radar. But you can
Yeah.
do this on occasion. Um, but you can do this more if you have financial friends and
Yeah.
you have deal flow. So hopefully everybody takes away some of this. This is like some high level knowledge, which is a good thing for your team to know, because this is how you can actually pay your team and get them more involved in the deal, and there's more buy-in from your team. So I have one question with the trustee. When we're paying out the trustee, is that trustee subject to tax?
Yes. Because that's not the trustee is not another IRA, it's an individual. So they're gonna have to pay income taxes just like they would if they received the money on a paycheck.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if we got any more questions. Nope, we don't.
A
So um, this
little
is
bit advanced today. The big takeaways as well. You mentioned a lot of them, but also how to, when you have a seller with two properties, front loading one property that you're going to buy and hold and refi outside of the IRAs, and the one that's left with a small balance, do that one with IRAs, flip it that you don't intend to keep. It's not good to own property with an IRA. It's good just to lend money and flip deals,
speak on
right?
that real quick. Speak on that real quick. Why?
Sure. Yeah. So owning property, as you know, and many people probably could imagine, comes with its own moving parts. And when you own a traditional rental property, as we own many, whenever you get a call for a toilet or something like that, maintenance and stuff like that, if you owned the real estate in the IRA, well, in this example, I guess I'm kind of being contradicting myself because we are going to own real estate, but we're going to flip it. We're not going to hold it long term. Okay, it's not good to own rental property with an IRA because then every single time the tenant, you had to do a turn or you had to, you know, um, fix a toilet or something, anything like that, the money's got to come from the IRA. And then all the rent payments got to go into the IRA. There's too many moving parts and too many transactions going on, right? So IRA deals are better for flips and stuff because it's just money out one time and lending. Flipping and lending is where the IRA comes into play because it's easy. It's just money out, money in, money out, money in. Owning real estate comes with its own, risks and moving parts. And it's actually better to own long-term real estate outside of your IRA because it comes with so many tax advantages that you can, actually use against your earned income. That's, so the IRA money is like over here. This is a little bucket, right? And it's like doing its own thing. But like we still have a business and we pay too much income taxes already. If Biden gets elected, it's going much higher, unfortunately. But we have to pay income taxes. But owning real estate, with our business outside of the IRA allows us to take advantage of tax savings against our business income over here, which we have to pay tax on. And the biggest tax advantages in real estate come from holding on to real estate long term. And that's called depreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we take care of that, and RJ knows, we've done this, before, and we're going to do it again. It's called, you get this thing done called a cost segregation. There's companies out there, and if everybody needs a referral for one of these, if you own some rental properties, have a guy do a cost seg on it. It's what they call it, cost segregation. Break it all down. And then you are essentially, depreciation is writing off future losses against today's income. And RJ and I flip a whole bunch of properties and wholesale a bunch of properties in our business name. And that's subject to the highest amount of tax because that's called earned income tax. And I think it's 23.8%. And I'm just itching. The analytical part of me just wants to dig and see if that's right. I think it is though. Correct me if I'm wrong. Marcus Krigler might be on here. He always loves to point out my flaws. No. But when we're wholesaling properties in our business name, but then we also own real estate in our business name, we can write off the losses against the buy and hold properties against this quick flip, high tax money for the business side of things. And then the IRA, like we said, we don't really want to own long-term rental property, because then we would lose that ability to do the depreciation and all that stuff. It just is, it's irrelevant, and there's too many moving parts. That's my 2 cents. That's my $2 paid in pennies and change thrown at you.